Good morning, Mr. Mulder. How are you?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Glad to see you again. Hopefully we can get this thing out of the way and we'll go from here. We didn't do anything last week. We wanted to get some kind of understanding from you as to where we are. I've looked at this. And it's impressive. It's a lot of money. But the one thing that's concerned me is that each individual case isn't listed. So we got 3 cases with one attorney firm, and they're just all lumped in one. Is that correct?
Well, I tried to provide the numbers for the active litigation, and the 6 that I've listed are the ones that we're primarily dealing with. There are some other litigation, but they haven't been active for some time, and we haven't really spent any money on it for some time.
Well, one thing that I was concerned with is we, as part of the city that's a beneficiary of the airport, the possible liability that the city faces, I can't find that in here. What I'm looking for is the scenario, the largest scenario as opposed to the smaller scenario, and basically I can't see just exactly how these things break down. We got the OIG investigation for only $2,272, when in fact we know that we spent something like $200,000, Mr. Turner and and Mayor, former Mayor Fortune. So the check to this William Lardner down in Florida to write a letter just to answer the inquiry from the FAA, and that doesn't even show. So I'm kind of lost as to where we're going, because nothing adds up the way it came out in the meetings.
What you may have been referring to, Counselor, recalling, was a couple of months ago we had to send a check to the FAA in regards to a grant for the noise program that involved Cinnabar from several years ago, and they required that the issue is that there was money spent by Cinnabar that was not eligible FAA funds. They were not eligible for reimbursement, and so the FAA required us to reimburse them those dollars. So we actually sent the money back to the FAA. They weren't technically legal fees. But, we're addressing or trying to resolve that issue in item number 6, in litigation with Cinnabar Service Company. But the 200-some thousand that I think you were calling was money we sent back to the FAA, so that wasn't technically legal fees.
That brings up something else that kind of worries me. I keep getting vibes that things aren't being presented as they actually are. Because I remember a month before last at your airport meeting, the mayor asked if in fact Cinnabar Environment was tied in with Cinnabar Service Company, who got the lawsuit against us. And I think Mr. Huff advised the mayor that they were a different company altogether. When you look at the website, they are in fact part of the Cinnabar establishment. This is something that worries me. I've said this before, that I think that rather than everybody giving the mayor all the answers she needs to try to help administer the city and administer as they should be, we're giving her answers that suit some of us, rather than giving her the whole picture as to where we stand as far as everything that goes on at the airport. But I'm gonna make this short and easy. I would think, I'm not an attorney, and so I don't profess to be. I've got an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. But it's kind of difficult for me to understand that attorneys can lump all these fees into different programs, projects, and know exactly where they stand. And as far as I'm concerned, I would hope that the administration would get the legal department or someone to see if there is not some way that we can do things so that people can understand what we're doing out there. It's kind of difficult, kind of easy for me to understand how the OG came in here and started going through records and saying that everything was convoluted. And I've had people have looked at this thing and nobody's really been able to figure out head or tail where we are. Councilor Scott, go ahead.
Get me through.
Go ahead. No, I'm not through, but go ahead.
Mr. Mulder, there is public perception that the city is spending a boatload of money on lawsuits related to the airport. Right or wrong, that perception is out there. And I hope that we can clear that up one way or the other. Reject it, confirm it, whatever the actual facts are. You mentioned that the figures that you provided us are for active litigation. How do you define active litigation? Some litigation that we've spent money on in the last 2 years, primarily. I think I've gone back to 2004 on these costs, and so it's primarily that we find that. Are the figures that you provided the totals for any lawsuit that has been or is open, has been open within the past 2 years, or is now an open lawsuit? I believe I have. Again, there's one lawsuit. It's Adams versus Tate. It involves inverse condemnation for noise, but that really hasn't been active for some time, so I did not include any costs associated with that. I believe that this essentially covers the active litigation that's ongoing. Who is it who reviews the billing records from the law firms and who approves paying attorney's fees? Our attorney Nancy McNair reviews the bills. Is there anyone who has oversight of Ms. McNair's work? I guess I'm asking, is she the final authority? Is she the one who approves and authorizes payment of attorney's fees? Well, yeah, she reviews it, and then we submit our request for approval for payment, yeah, that is our normal procedure. Who makes the decision which law firm to hire for any lawsuit that's filed? Well, we have, last year the board hired the general outside counsel, Turner Saunders, and the intent was to use them for legal issues that came up primarily, and they're involved in several cases right now. We have Craig Walker, who was hired specifically to assist with the TIA versus Tate, the Great Plains litigation. And then Foley & Lardner was hired to assist with that along with other FA matters. So to answer your question, Counselor, if we have litigation that comes up at the moment, we have Turner Saunders would probably be the firm that would be litigating that for us, unless it's a special circumstance or involves some kind of expertise. The board made the decision to hire the Durner law firm on kind of a general basis. But who made the decision to hire Prey Walker and the Foley firm?
I wasn't here at the time, so I don't know, but I believe they went through a request for proposal process, the same as we did with Dr. Saunders. We received proposals from a variety of firms, and they were reviewed and a recommendation was made.
I would like to ask you to, not right now, but later, if you would, go back over the document that you've given us and just confirm to us that this is all of the attorney's fees that we've paid, the city has paid, over the last couple of years for any lawsuit. And I know that this is probably pretty complete, but you mentioned that there was a little bit of doubt about the Adams lawsuit. And just kind of, if you would, just kind of confirm that we have all of the attorney's fees that the city has paid for the last 2 years. I hate to ask you to go back over the same work, but since there's maybe a little bit of gray area, let's just be sure we have everything nailed down.
I do want to confirm, Counselor, that, again, our costs are borne by the airport users. This does not include any city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Would it be a fair question, and I'll kind of ask this to Mr. Reese, would it be a question that this council could ask in open session? What the plaintiffs are claiming in each of the lawsuits, what the potential exposure is in each of the lawsuits. And we may not be able to answer that now, but at some future date. Is that a fair question, Mr. Reese?
Certainly, that's especially any court documents that we could use in reference to that. That's up to record, so we can bring those in to explain that to the council.
Okay. Mr. Mulder, I'm just looking for the downside. And I guess what I'm looking for is what's the potential exposure versus ongoing litigation costs. What's the most reasonable, efficient way to get through these litigation matters for the Take Board and for the City of Tulsa? Thank you.
Councilor Eagleford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would agree with everything Mr. Westcott said. I don't believe we can analyze the reasonableness of fees until we know what the downside is and our potential responses are. And I believe we should probably consider this an executive session where we can ask those questions. What are they alleging against us, and what are we using as a defense? And I'd recommend we put this on an executive session.
That'd be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? If I'm correct, I'm still certain that this doesn't show the initial funds that were distributed to Foley Lardner, the Florida firm. It doesn't show. That's one of the things that, and I'm sure you won't find it in the minutes of the airport meeting, because this was done outside of the meeting, and we need to find out why. If you find out what happened and how much was, we'd appreciate that. And secondly, we've got a lawsuit that's been pending against us from Cinnabar, and this is one with Cinnabar Company, and I'd like to get some kind of understanding as to the relative position of the Cinnabar Environmental and Cinnabar Service. According to the website, they show that's the same company, and I think we probably need to get the mayor the correct answer on that when she asked it over a month ago. And as far as I'm concerned, if you'll get the information to us that Councilor Eagleton and Councilor Westcott requested, I think we can get moving right along with this. The other thing I want to get into is right quick, and I'll be through with you, sir. Is the discussion of Tulsa Airport's authority and administration regarding the effects of bankruptcy of Spartan housing. I understand that you said on the memo you sent back to us that that had been dismissed. If you can, could you give us any information on that? Realizing that is airport land there, and these buildings were placed there, and one way or the other, I gotten different information as to how they were placed there and who did it. But what I'm trying to find out now is what happens to the Spartan housing as it pertains to airport land. If you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I think I understand your question. I'm not sure I have the full answer. In regards to, I think the original question you asked about who was using the housing, I did contact
that was
Mills,
original, right? That was one of the original questions.
And he confirmed that the housing is still being used by Spartan students. It had been used to some extent by the Chinese students who had been, their contract was finished and they moved on, but it's now, they've been replaced by domestic students, students from the U.S. So he confirmed that they're still using it for that purpose. In regards to bankruptcy, I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances are, Counselor. We're just kind of waiting for the procedure to go through. And my understanding is that the bankruptcy was dismissed. I don't know exactly what the next step is, but we're following that. I believe there's a hearing that's coming up soon, and we'll be attending that to find out what the next step is, whether there is any impact or not.
Well, one question that I have is as it pertains to the to one of the programs is in the if you'll get that information back, I'll appreciate that.
Sure.
But now I want to go right back to something else, and now I'll be through with you. The case of the Great Plains Airlines, did anyone file for the city's interest in that bankruptcy? The report was still a part of it. The airport is, but the city wasn't basically, but as a beneficiary, we're still involved in it.
I'm not sure involved in that bankruptcy, but your question was, did anybody file on behalf of the city?
On behalf of the city?
I don't know if that...
Could you find that out for us, please? And just as soon as you get that information and get back with us, we can let Drew know, and Drew, you can set it up on the agenda if you would, please. Anything else? Now, Mr. Norman, thank you very much. We appreciate it.